Trenton, New Jersey, where freedom was forged. Along the Delaware River, where bridges crossed between Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and the water bends past old mills, row houses, and public buildings, stands Trenton, a capital whose history is larger than its size. Few American cities carry so much of the Revolution in their streets. Trenton was a river crossing, a market town, a battlefield, a brief meeting place for the national government, an industrial center, and the permanent capital of New Jersey. Its story begins with movement, but its meaning comes from endurance. Here, geography placed a town between colonies, armies, roads, and rivers, and history turned that crossing into a symbol of freedom. Long before Europeans settled the Delaware Valley, the Lenape people lived throughout this region. They fished the river, hunted the forests, planted crops, and traveled by water and trail through a landscape rich with seasonal life. The Delaware was not a boundary to them in the modern sense. It was a path, a source of food, and a link between communities. Later roads, ferries, and bridges followed routes that native people had known for generations. To understand Trenton honestly, the story must begin with those first inhabitants, and with the river that shaped all who came after. European settlement grew slowly in the late 17th century. English Quakers and other settlers moved into the region, drawn by fertile soil and the river crossing between Philadelphia and the interior of New Jersey. Milan Stacy, an early Quaker settler, established a mill and ferry near the falls of the Delaware, helping turn the place into a useful stop for travelers and trade. In 1719, the town was named for William Trent, a wealthy merchant and landowner who owned a large estate here. By 1720, Trenton had become important enough for county business, with a courthouse and jail that made it a legal and commercial center. The town's location gave it power. It stood on the road between New York and Philadelphia, two of the most important cities in colonial America. Wagons, riders, merchants, farmers, lawyers, and officials passed through its streets. Taverns served meals and news as much as drink. Ferries moved people across the Delaware before permanent bridges changed the crossing. The town was never simply a quiet village. It was a place of exchange, where politics, commerce, and rumor traveled together along the river road. That location made Trenton crucial during the American Revolution. By late 1776, the Patriot cause was in deep trouble. New York had been lost, soldiers were tired, enlistments were ending, and confidence was fading. On Christmas night, General George Washington led his army across the icy Delaware River from Pennsylvania. The crossing was dangerous and slow, but the plan depended on surprise. At dawn on December 26th, Washington's forces attacked Hessian troops stationed in Trenton. The victory was not large in numbers compared with later battles, but its effect was enormous. It revived morale, proved the Continental Army could still strike, and gave the Revolution new life at a desperate hour. The fighting did not end with that first victory. In early January 1777, the Second Battle of Trenton took place along Assunpink Creek, where American troops held off British forces before slipping away during the night and marching toward Princeton. These days became known as part of the 10 Crucial Days, a turning point in the campaign for New Jersey. Trenton's roads, bridges, taverns, and waterways became part of the military map of independence. The city still carries that memory in its monuments, markers, and the old barracks, whose stone walls connect visitors to the soldiers who once passed through the town. After independence, Trenton remained closely tied to the new nation's public life. In November and December of 1784, the Confederation Congress met at the French Arms Tavern in Trenton. For a short time, the town served as one of the working seats of the national government under the Articles of Confederation. Delegates gathered in a tavern room rather than a grand Capitol building, which says much about the young republic. Its government was still searching for permanence, still moving between cities, still learning how to become a nation. Trenton, already marked by revolutionary victory, briefly stood at the center of that uncertain experiment. New Jersey chose Trenton as its state capital on November 25, 1790. The choice made practical sense. Trenton stood between northern and southern New Jersey, near major roads and close to the Delaware River. It also carried revolutionary meaning. The city was formally incorporated in 1792, the same year construction was completed on the original New Jersey State House. Designed by Jonathan Doane, the early building was modest, with a bell tower rather than the gold dome seen today. Its size reflected the scale of government in a young state, but its purpose was lasting. From those rooms, New Jersey's elected leaders began shaping laws for a growing commonwealth. The State House changed as the state changed. Additions, fires, repairs, and restorations altered its form over the centuries. The gold dome now rising above West State Street gives the building a dignity that its first version did not possess, but the older foundation remains part of the story. Unlike many grand state buildings planned all at once, New Jersey's State House grew in layers. That makes it feel like Trenton itself, practical, tested, and repeatedly renewed. Government here did not stand apart from the city. It sat close to streets, churches, shops, and neighborhoods, reminding citizens that public life belonged near ordinary life. In the 19th century, Trenton became one of New Jersey's great industrial cities. Its position on the Delaware and Raritan Canal, and later its railroad connections, helped factories grow. Ironworks, wire mills, rubber plants, and especially pottery works gave the city national importance. The slogan, Trenton Makes, the world takes, captured both pride and reality. Goods made by Trenton workers traveled far beyond New Jersey. The same city remembered for Washington's victory also became a city of furnaces, kilns, machine shops, and working families. Immigrants arrived from Europe and later from many other places, bringing languages, churches, foods, and traditions that reshaped the capital's neighborhoods. Industry brought strength, but it also brought hardship. Workers faced long hours, dangerous conditions, and uncertain wages. As manufacturing changed in the 20th century, Trenton faced job losses, population shifts, and the difficult work of reinvention. Yet the city did not lose its historical voice. The State House, the old barracks, the Delaware River, and the bridge bearing the words Trenton Makes. The world takes all remain reminders of what the city has been. They show a capital built not only by lawmakers and generals, but by laborers, shopkeepers, soldiers, immigrants, and families who kept returning to the same streets. In Trenton today, its history still shows itself. The State House stands near the river, its dome shining above government offices and old neighborhoods. The old barracks preserves the memory of colonial soldiers and wartime occupation. The battle monument rises where roads once carried troops into conflict. Along the Delaware, the water still moves past the city with the same steady force that drew people here centuries ago. Trenton is not polished into a simple museum piece. It is a living capital, carrying scars and pride together. Trenton's strength was forged at difficult crossings. Native paths, colonial ferries, revolutionary danger, early national government, state politics, and industrial labor all left their mark on the city. Its importance did not come from ease, but from the way it held its place when history pressed hard against it. Where freedom was forged is more than a subtitle. It is the truth of a capital where a winter victory helped save a revolution, where a young state gave shape to its government, and where generations of workers turned fire, clay, iron, and hope into the lasting story of New Jersey.